In the 30s, the phrase career woman was first coined to remind women that a career woman does not have a greater importance than her husband and family. This is because women revolutionized and began to be seen as assets in the workforce. Fast forward to the 21st century, the tide has changed and getting stronger as women have excelled exceptionally well in their chosen career. Hello and welcome. I am Olujoke Mosako on Let's Talk, and the topic for today is career women. In the studio with me is Mandy Tucker, Executive Career Strategist, United Kingdom. Stay with us. Hello, Mandy. Thank you so much for actually coming on. It's nice seeing you and meeting you in person.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The honor is all mine. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm looking forward to some great discussion today. So thank you. It's my honor.
Okay. So, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word career women? How do you feel when you're being called something like that?
It's something we or I have aspired to. I think being a career woman in this day and age is a woman who's seen as someone who can do it all to a certain extent, someone who has goals, but they are happy to put those goals on a par with other things in their life, but they are looking to strive for more. And I think that's what I've chosen in the last 20, 25 years in the corporate world is that there's more that I can achieve, and I want to enable myself to do that, as well as setting an example for others coming up behind me.
Okay, someone argued it by saying, why don't we also have career men? And she finds it insultive. From what you said, it's actually something that she should be proud of. But let's look at it. Is it really insultive to be calling a woman a career woman because she's actually striving to make something out of her life?
And I understand that that thought process around that. I really do get that, because at the end of the day, we can do just as much and as well as men, if not more. So why is the differentiation? I think that differentiation comes from the fact that we've been perceived as women historically that we will do less, right? We may stay at home and look after our families, our homes, and that our careers are not at the forefront. But I think the fact that we are being labeled as career women, it means that it's now at the forefront of people's minds that we are really pushing to do everything, and that we no longer are sitting back, and that we want those opportunities for ourselves and we will fight for them. So I do understand that, but I'm a career woman. I'm proud of it. And that's why I say that, really.
Okay, so what are the characteristics of a career woman, and how can the broken wrong at the workplace be addressed, looking at the area of sponsorship too?
What is a career woman? A career woman who is striving for more, wanting to be in the leadership space. But what I would say is a career is whatever you want it to be. My career is different from what another lady's career will be. I will have different aspirations and goals to another. And it's really shaping what you want out of your career. And when I mentor and coach people, that's what I'm encouraging them to do, is to identify their goals. What are their long-term passions? What are they trying to achieve? And that's what they should be focusing on. So when you look at the term career, your career, it's exactly that. What is it you want to be, you want to achieve? Sponsorship, it's something that can really help in terms of moving people forward. And I just don't think it's used enough. So I've used sponsorship quite a bit in my career. And it's really about how you leverage your relationships in the workplace, and knowing that there are certain tables, rooms, meetings that you may not have access to at this point, but others do. So when you choose to have a sponsor in your work, who can help to advocate for you, who can help to talk up for you in those rooms that you don't have access to. So it's really being strategic about your career and knowing who can help you. And then you create those alliances to move forward. And just touching on the broken rung, you asked that question. I mean, the broken rung is an analogy that is really about middle management into senior executive management. There is a gap there because we have been so disproportionately as women discriminated against or not given opportunities. There is a gap between middle or lower management and the executive space. And that's what's called the broken rung, that gap. And we are continually trying to close that gap. And the only way we can do that is with, yes, sponsorship, more opportunities, understanding where we are discriminated against and bias plays a part. And that's the only way you will start to close that leadership gap.
Okay, so let's just quickly go on this break and we'll continue. So viewers, please take your time to stay with us and join us after this break. The program is still Let's Talk on DNT Work, and the topic has been career women. I've been talking with Mandy Tucker. So if you're just joining us, I'm sure you've not really missed a lot, although I would advise you to go back to the beginning of the video and just watch. So let's continue on this ride. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you for still standing by with me here in the studio and talking about women. Women in the general sense, it's really something there's a lot about women, and the world is actually looking at women because we are becoming a greater force to be reckoned with in the society. So this issue of being put under the carpet because the fear of she's going to outrun me and everything. But this is also the 21st century where we see a lot of women taking higher positions and doing so well. So for the guys out there, men, we're actually not here to make you feel less of yourself. We're just here to actually support you as God has said, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So what are the ways women of color, yes, let's get there, can be empowered at the workplace, and how can they overcome imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big topic that is, like you say, is currently really at the forefront of many organizations, and that's where we need to keep it. Women of color, it's really, for me, is about confidence, really knowing that you can sit in any room, any audience, and that you can be powerful. But I know the way that we have been held back in previous times and in our careers, I think sometimes we use that and we feel that we are not worthy of stepping up and being in certain circles. And it's really the mindset change that will help to overcome some of that, as well as the strategies as well. So we've talked about sponsorship. Where I would also speak to women of color is about allies, making sure you have your allies in the workforce and in your network. And an ally really is about those who are joined with you toe to toe, hip to hip in those kind of discussions about how we move women of color forward. So an ally will really help to spread the word about the way women need to be encouraged and promoted in the workplace. So allies, sponsorship, yes, your mindset and your confidence all need to be empowered and moved forward. And then there's the other things around making sure we communicate well. Communication in the workplace is paramount, and making sure we create those opportunities, whether that is presentations, whether that is strategic work that we're doing for our leaders, really pushing ourselves forward so that no one can ignore us, and that we will, see those opportunities start to open up.
Okay, now let's help women executive presence. Let's help them develop their women executive presence by increasing the amount of women in leadership, such as politics, workplace, and business. So how would you do this? What would you say to women to be able to actually fit in well in such positions?
Yeah, I think there's a few things you can do. Firstly, I'd say it's about your own presentation, your own presence, how you hone those skills, as well as being strategic, as well as knowing how to communicate. Executive presence is a skill that you need to nurture, and that is making sure you are presentable, making sure that you are able to articulate yourself well, speak up when you need to, and not sort of sit back it's very easy for us, when we're sitting in a room of really senior executives, to sit back and not take our place at the table. But that's where I would really encourage people to push themselves forward, and be encouraged to speak up and have a voice. And you will find that you are just as worthy in those conversations. So your executive presence, how you lead, how you walk, all of those things are being watched, and they are very important. The other thing is around your branding. Having a brand that resonates with people, that people can recognize, is really important. And that is both in person, when we all get back to our offices, but also online, social media, having a presence on LinkedIn, for instance, other platforms, whether that be Instagram or any other platform that you choose. Your branding needs to be clear, concise. If you are an executive, then we're expecting a professional kind of persona to be portrayed as part of your brand. When you speak up on social media, it should be consistent across platforms, not your Instagram page saying one thing and your LinkedIn saying another. Your branding is very, very important.
Okay, so finally, what would be your advice for career women on how to balance marriage and life commitments while fulfilling purpose?
Yeah, that's a biggie, real biggie. I mean, I'm married, I have 2 children. I have a wider family network. I mean, up until a few years ago, I was caring for my ailing mother. So life can get really hectic for women, as men. As we know, we are living in times where life has become very stressful. So how can you do and manage everything? I think firstly, it's about self-care. Understanding that unless you look after yourself, you are never going to get to the finish line. You are not going to be able to do everything at once. So taking regular time for mind and physical activity, affirmations, journaling, those kind of things that allow you to, as an outlet, to really note down how you are feeling emotionally from day to day really helps me. And then as a family, engaging those around you to support you in terms of what you are doing. Because if you have a very stressful or busy job, you're not going to be able to get to do everything. So I think those are a few of the things that I would actually say you need to focus on, as well as managing your organization is very important. I think something that a lot of executive ladies fall into is the fact that, well, I've reached this level, I now owe my whole being to this organization. And that's not how it should be. You should manage those conversations with your leaders in a way to say, well, I have a family, I have these outside commitments. There is a conversation to be had to say, right, where is the balance struck? Yes, there will be times when you need to, be on early meetings, late meetings, jump on a plane, whatever it may be. But there needs to be balance. And that conversation has to be had.
Okay, so finally, what advice do you have for women who are finding it difficult to actually balance this, their career and their home, and also women who doesn't even care about handling a home because you're pursuing something?
And I've battled with a lot of these things over the years myself. I mean, I'm an IT director as well as being an executive career coach. And I think it's really about understanding and knowing oneself. What are your aspirations? What are you trying to achieve long term? It's all very well giving the next 5 years on that treadmill running and not nurturing other parts of your life. But as you evolve as a woman, things change. And I think further down the line, you need to think about whether your choices today will serve you tomorrow. So I wouldn't, suggest that you give all out to your career at any stage of your life. I think we all need to achieve balance. And I think if you do that, then you're more likely to be successful both at home and in the workplace.
Thank you so much, Mandy. It's been wonderful having you. And I believe that a lot of women out there who happen to watch this video will be glad you did talk about issues that they might not be able to share with other women or people. And I also, maybe before we finally say goodbye, would you say something to the men too?
Men, we need your support.
Mm-hmm.
I think men are our biggest allies. You know, my husband supports me. He supported me in my long-term career. And he is, my other half is, you know, he studies and he's an aspiration to me, or an inspiration, I should say. But I think men can be an ally for us. They've walked before us, especially Black men. And it's really helping to pull us up, and we pull you up. So I think it's really a joint exercise that we need, especially as women and men of color, to help us in the workplace.
Okay, thank you so much once again, Mandy.
My pleasure.
And to you out there, thank you too for always watching Let's Talk. Please endeavor to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow www.dntwork.com for latest news and reports. Until next time, I remain Ulujoke Musako. Bye for now.